Yeah, so this is the clip I was telling you about. I want to play this. Fair use. We just discussing this from Bill Maher's show, but this is talking about the
fair
crisis.
Fair policy use. He cites fair policy use.
Yeah, fair policy use. We just discussing this clip as content creators about the crisis with young men.
At the root cause, why are men in such crisis? I mean, the stats are like only 40% go to college, so they're losing out to women there in a big way. And women with degrees don't marry men who don't have degrees. So. Great, you'll be lonely forever, aren't you? Why are you cheering that? That's not.
Glad they didn't tell my wife.
They don't marry as much, which I think is great, but other people think that's a terrible thing. Okay, people do like a mate, whatever. That's whatever your boat floats by. But there is something going on. I mean, mass shootings is a uniquely male crime. It's always because some dude in Buffalo, had somebody swipe left on him too much. I feel like that's what's going on here, is a lot of sort of maleness coming to the fore and announcing itself in violence and racism and hatred because they're lonely and lost and feel that they are not useful in society. How did we get there?
The most unstable nations in the world have one thing in common, and that is they have too many lonely, broke, and alone men. It's the most dangerous person in the world. Salman Rushdie wasn't attacked because of the fatwa. He was attacked because a guy was living in his mother's basement. We have a crisis among young men, and it starts at a young age. Young men are twice as likely on a behavior-adjusted basis to be suspended. 7 in 10 high school valedictorians are women. For every two female graduates from college in the next 5 years, you only have one. The scariest stat, walking down the avenue that is America, only 1 in 3 men under the age of 30 have had sex in the last year. And you hear sex and your brain fires. But the bottom line is, it's a key step to the elemental foundation of any society, and that is relationships. Young men aren't attaching to work. They aren't attaching to women. They aren't attaching to schools. We are producing too mmany of the most dangerous person in society. And we are losing out on a key. We're not going to have kids. We're not going to have a productive society. We're going to have more violence. And also, we're going to have a society that does not value young men. And they do not. Young men are different. They develop later. And by the way, if you're a young man, this work from home thing is a disaster. They need young men. Young men need guardrails. They need to know how to read a room. They need to put on a clean shirt. They know not to get high or drink too much during the week and then get into the office the next day. We have a crisis among young men. It is one of the most, in my view, one of the most dangerous things in our society.
And where do you put the phone in this equation? Because I put it high up. Because, thank you. Because...
So he's saying, who's to blame? Who's to blame?
Tinder.
Go ahead. What were you thinking, Cowboy?
Yeah. All right. So do you notice how the conversation came to a crescendo, and then Mr. What's his name? Who's that guy? Bill Maher. And then Bill Maher says, "What did he say? Who do you hold the phone? Or what did he say? Who do you hold the phone to?" I think that's his that's his way of saying.
It is
who's to blame?
In my view, one of the most dangerous things in our society.
And where do you put the phone in this equation? Because I put it high up. Because, thank you. Because I was reading recently, Tinder, 2-to-1 male to female.
Oh.
What?
No, it's just a startling statistic, yeah.
Right. Well, why is it startling? I mean, it sounds like a great idea. Oh, I can just order women like I do a pizza on my phone. I think I'll have the Kelly today. Except...
So, what did that make you think, Cowboy?
Right. Okay. So let me preface everything by saying I saw that sketch. I saw that clip a day ago or 2 days ago or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So that's more of the same. The guy. It's more of the same. They're just blaming men. I mean, for anyone who's slow, right now or after this stream, go back and look at Lord Hybrid's stream, rewatch the clip, At what point in this segment, at what point in this clip did either of them blame women? When are we just going to start pointing the finger at women? We won't. So he's saying, oh yeah, men got to step up. Man, men, they're walking away from work. Man, these men are bad. They're walking away from blaming men. Instead, if he was being more honest, he would say, well, we've hired all these feminists in HR that run the men out. Well, we've hired all these Marxist, feminist, communist professors that have created an anti-male environment in the university, and so this institution, men are being run out of this institution as well. Well, in the government, we have affirmative action. More and more women are coming to control government institutions, and one of the first things women do, they run the men out. No one wants to point the finger at women and say, women, second they're getting power, and they're getting power now, they abuse all the men around them, and any of the men that they can't come to control, they try to run them out. They will not blame the women. They're going to blame the men, but it doesn't matter. In fact, this guy, this leftist guy, he even alludes to it. He tries to, about a minute. Play the video again. You'll see he'll try to talk about women for a second, but he will not come out openly and publicly and point the finger at them.
Except when you go on it, it weeds out the people who aren't the best looking, I think, because it used to be go to a bar, okay, maybe it was potluck, but you have to be able to learn to 100%. Talk to a woman. I don't think they had to talk to a woman anymore, because it's just on the phone. It's just like, what's up? And then, what's up, and send a picture of your penis. Like, that's going to work.
Sometimes. So
Sometimes.
you asked about the phone. Simply put, it's a disaster. Whenever technology comes into an industry, it consolidates it. Mating has been consolidated in the worst way. 50 men on Tinder, 50 women. 46 of the women show all of their attention to just 4 men, leaving 46 men pursuing just 4 women. If mating was a country, it would be more unequal than Venezuela. We have huge mating inequality, and here's the problem. When people don't get together and there's no pheromones and there's no vibe, women, and we don't like to say this on the left, primarily try and make very quick assumptions about this individual's ability to garner resources in the future. So what you have is this concentration of interest, and you're ending up with Porsche polygamy, where 10% of the men get 90% of the attention, which does not lead to good behavior or form long-term relationships. E-commerce was disastrous for retail. Social media was disastrous for everybody. Online dating is disastrous for mating and for men. It's terrible.
Okay, so I feel like they tried to. I don't necessarily feel like they were trying to put the blame on anybody. I think they mainly blame devices and social media platforms. I think the issue is a real one. I don't think they, like with the manosphere, we have a level of knowledge on these things, especially from a man perspective, because we've been discussing these issues for years and sharing different perspectives. So nobody, I feel like, in any other space is more able to analyze the situation better than us. And like you said, you named things they didn't name. You named the feminist, man-hating professors at universities that are indoctrinating women with feminism and man-hatred. In the black community, we talk about the single mother crisis and how the government, tricked the poor black women to throw away their man for a government check in a project tenement apartment. And it's so many factors, and the social media is just the latest layer on top of a lot of crap that's been done to damage the relationship. They're never gonna talk like on Bill Maher. They're never gonna talk about the divorce laws, the false accusations, the ability that women have to use the government to punish men.
Right.
So it's so we have so much more advanced knowledge than they do. So when we listening to them, it's like they just haven't spent enough time with this subject to know how deep it is and even how it affects different communities. Go ahead.
I disagree, if I may. No. So I mean, you just made a statement right now. You said, oh yeah, Mgtow, we have a much deeper knowledge of this. Yeah, we do. But I think that these people, especially the controller level, and I mean that when I say like people like Bill Maher, he knows the real truth. He knows what we know. These people, these think tanks, governments, top corporations, they know what's going on, but they benefit from this system, so they're going to keep it going. Are they going to want to go on a show like Bill Maher and tell the actual truth? No. The closest that man came to telling the truth is he said, and notice how he prefaced what he prefaced telling the truth by saying, we on the left. What did he say? He's like, we on the left, we don't like saying this about women, but, and then he said something true. He said, but when you observe women's sexual proclivities, they tend to go for the top men. And this creates what? What did he call it? He said it's inequality or inequity. He said this. What did he say? If dating was the economy, if dating was the economy, it would be the most unequal economy in the world or something.
Yeah, it'd be more unequal than Venezuela.
Yeah, that's what he said. So they know, but they're not going to say this is women's fault. This is women given the opportunity, women given power. They create this society, and this is dysfunction. So we need to take away women's rights. Now, they're not going to say that. They're going to say, oh, these men, I'm sorry, what did Bill Maher say? He's like, oh, yeah, these men don't even know how to talk to women. What's up?
That's the shaming. They were shaming.
There's the shame.
He was shaming the victims.
There you go.
Because the young men are victimized by these situations in society, and so they're underdeveloped in terms of social interaction.
This is social conditioning. And then you got this other guy, his host, who's saying, how come men can't enter universities? How come we can't get men to stick to serious work? Why can't we get men to show up at the office? Why can't we get them to stop using drugs? Why can't we get them to stop drinking too much on the weekday? Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Well, because as terrible as it sounds to say this, and I know this, I speak from experience. This happened to me. I went through a period where I was boozing. I went through a period where I was abusing alcohol, and what I noticed is, once I got away from the abusive women in my life, I stopped drinking. I cut down on my alcohol. Essentially, what I'm saying is exactly what you said. This is shame. This is blaming the victim. These are shaming tactics. Yes, it's true that when men are emasculated and constantly berated and constantly put down, this is like learned helplessness, and they develop a sense of shame and internalized shame, and then instead of lashing out, which is what they're scared of. And they mention that too. They're like, oh, some shooter from Buffalo. That's what they're really afraid of. Men saying, fuck this. I'm gonna, you guys been fucking hurting me. I'm gonna go hurt you. That's what they're scared of. But then they also shame us. And they're like, oh yeah, you're drinking. Well, when people are treated like shit all the time, what most men do is they turn inward and they essentially start self-abusing and self-harming. So again, this is just more of the same. This is them trying to sound like they're unbiased, but they are biased. They're not willing to come out and openly say, women have too much power in society. When women have the power, most men are emasculated, and this is where we are now. Are they going to say that? No. Is that what's happening? Yeah.